Nigga wanna see me fall. Stephen Curry, how I ball. Gosha garments and a white 3 on my body. I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz. Niggas say they run my hometown. Don't know how I'm the prince of the man. All we talk about is check. I'm in love with my squad. Fuck shit. Oh my God.
Hey yo, what up my knights? How's it going? So, it's actually pretty early for me right now, and I was watching this video by Seth the programmer, and I believe he has SSJ Ryu with him, and I got about, let's see, 2 minutes into this video, right? Basically 2 minutes. And so they're sitting here debating who would win between Super 17 from Dragon Ball GT and Android 17 from Dragon Ball Super. Now, most of what they were saying within this first 2 minutes was, actually pretty accurate. That because they started off with Super Android 17, not from GT, but from Dragon Ball Super. And so basically, they were just going over the fact that he could get stronger through training. That he basically trained for like a decade since the Cell Saga. One thing I want to add in on that is the type of training that he did, because they're just saying that he trained, and that and this is a lot of the excuse that is used for why 17 is so strong. It's because he trained. First of all, we have to break that down. We can't just say he trained, because he didn't train for 10 years straight. That's the problem. He trained over the 10-year time period, but the thing is, not only did he have a full-time job, which would have limited any major training, because as we've seen in the episodes for Android 17, he has a job that basically is constantly bombarding him with the task of protecting these animals on this island from being stolen by poachers and aliens and things of that nature. And even during that episode, like, Goten and Trunks there at 17 is leaving with like Krillin and stuff, you can see that the poachers were about to attack, and this was the dead of night. So it's more on a constant basis. So consistent training is already limited due to that. Then, not to mention, 17 actually has a family, has a wife and a child. So not only is he happen to provide for them, but he's happened to be with them. He has to be a father, to be a husband. Now, it could be like Vegeta and neglect that and kind of just go strictly to training, but even still, his job would take him away. So and plus, once again, he has no serious motivation. He's not like Vegeta or Piccolo. He doesn't have any serious motivation to constantly push his limits, to train, and stuff like that. But I just want to go ahead and get that out the way, because it seems to me, and this is probably not the case, that they're just suggesting that he trained as hard as somebody like Vegeta or them would. And, he neglected his job and his family, just trained those 10 years straight, and so that way he can get stronger, which is just simply not true. And I'm sorry for anybody else who feels that way. It's just simply not true. And this isn't me pulling stuff out of my ass. You can go and actually watch the episodes, and you can see for yourself that the proof is there, that he would not have any purpose. Now, we don't know when he got the job as a park ranger or whatever, but if we look at the end of Dragon Ball Z, it seems to me that he got it relativistically within the 7-year time period. Not maybe immediately after the Cell Saga, but somewhat then. Because when we see him at the end of Dragon Ball Z, for the little scene where he's holding up his hand to give energy to the Spirit Bomb, he does seem to be like he already has the park ranger job. It doesn't seem to be recent to him or whatever. But anyway, so they get to this point, where they're like, where Ryu is like, 17 was beating up Goku and stuff like that. He was like, he made him go Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. First of all, that is factually incorrect. He never made him go Super Saiyan 2. Goku only fought him as Super Saiyan 1 and then went to Blue. That's a fact. And he says he was like just dominating him the entire fight. Also not true. He did start to overpower him a little bit, but Goku then went to Blue. Now, the ask and force theory, it's a theory, not a fact, and everything's pretty much debunked it at this point. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. The ask and force theory is a pretty good theory. It basically says that a character who's asking you isn't the same as a character who's forcing you to perform a transformation or to get a power boost. Now, the problem when you look at it in the lens of Super comes into the fact that regardless of if 17 forced Goku or whether he asked him, Now the asking part comes from because there was a big debate on who was stronger between Gohan and 17, because Gohan was asking Goku, so that's why it's the ask and force theory. Now on the force side, even if 17 forced Goku, the power increase is not more significant than when Gohan asks Goku to transform. That's what they don't understand, or who wrote the episode that starred 17 fighting Goku pretty much already came out and basically kind of confirmed that theory is pretty much over. Because if we want to apply the ask and force theory, then we have to sit there and say that Krillin and Android 18 are both God level. We have to say that people like Master Roshi are at least Super Saiyan 3 level. Master Roshi forced Goku to be in a charged normal state. Space Goku, who at this point has had so many Zenkai boosts from fighting Zamasu and fighting in the Universe 6 tournament, that his base is well above Super Saiyan 3. It has to be. I can't really find an argument to say that it's not at that point. So if we want to sit there and start entertaining the idea that just because somebody forces a character to power up, not to their fullest, but to power up to a base level or a suppress, or just in a suppressed level, but still is letting out power, then we have to entertain the idea that Kale is God level. Because guess what? She forced Goku. In fact, there's more evidence to suggest that she is God level than 17. Why? Because Goku says some power when he powers up. He's like, I'm bringing out some more power. Versus 17, to where he said, I didn't intend to. First of all, saying that Goku was forced because he said I didn't intend to, that's not forced, okay? First of all, that whole thing is taken out of context. It's not like with Kale, to where he's literally saying that he's basically been forced because he was forced to draw out more power. He had to in the blue state, which technically is an argument to say that he was fighting at an even, because he was still suppressed, he didn't bring out full power, but he was fighting at an even higher level in blue state than what he was fighting against 17 and against Gohan and against Krillin in. Because with Gohan, Krillin, and 17, and pulling 18 in there too, it was never suggested or never stated, never even really shown that Goku was fighting at a higher suppressed level than when he was fighting any of the other characters. First of all, the whole thing of Goku saying I never intended to is because he underestimated 17's power and ability. It's not because 17 forced him to transform. Goku simply saying to 17, okay, I'm testing you for real. Just like when he did to Krillin. Because if I'm not mistaken, he started off with Super Saiyan against Krillin. Just like he did with 17. And he even did with Gohan. Well, really with Gohan, he started off like Super Saiyan 2, pretty much. But anyway, he started off in a much weaker form with all of them. And then he powered up to Super Saiyan Blue to test them. Now with Krillin and 17, he chose to do it himself. They didn't ask him. With Gohan, Gohan asked. But the problem is the power increases regardless. And there's nothing to suggest, nothing that says that one is over the other. It's nothing to say that the blue state that he was using against 17 was stronger than the one he was using against Krillin, or the one he was using against Gohan. So the ask and force theory goes straight out the window, because we have nothing to suggest that him being forced. Because when you really say forced, you're basically saying a character is drawing out a max percentile of their power. It's drawing out, something is drawing out something of the ceiling of their power, because a character they have to actually try. This is not the case when it comes to Goku. Once again, him saying that he never intended to means that, okay, he was hoping or believing that 17 was at a gauge of power. So when 17 proved that wrong and proved that he was stronger than that, and 17 confirmed that when he was like, well, I haven't been sitting on my butt, I've been actually training and stuff like that. And Goku was like, basically that's Goku going in the blue is basically saying, okay, just like I did with Krillin and 18 before you, I'm testing you for real this time, because in the tournament of power, there's going to be guys who are strong like this. So I want to see if you actually have what it takes to stand up against them. You know, because with Krillin doesn't have the power, but he had tenacity, he had techniques, and he had variety in his skill. And plus, with him and 18 together, it was the teamwork aspect, and so they were able to teach Goku a lot about that. And so, you know, it's the same thing with 17. He's truly testing him. He wasn't forced, he was testing. Even if he was forced, it doesn't matter, because the power increased regardless to a set limit. It was not above what he did for anybody else. There's nothing to suggest that. There's nothing to state that. Now, of course, you know, I'm going to finish the rest of the video, but they're basically going to be saying the same thing, and I already can kind of assume who they believe is going to win, and that's probably 17 from Dragon Ball Super, which I don't mind. I personally think that he does have a great chance of winning. Considering from what I know about GT, Super Android 17, it seems that, you know, 17 from Dragon Ball Super has a pretty decent chance of winning this. I just wanted to go ahead and get that out the way about the ask and force theory. The fact that it's not an ironclad theory. Basically, what you have right here is it goes straight out the window. The theory just is gone at this point. You can't keep using it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing shade at them. You know, I'm just, you know, just like me, because, you know, you're going to have people that you disagree with. Like, I like a lot of the stuff that Seth says. You know, I pretty much agree with him on a whole bunch of things. It's just that every so often you're going to have that thing that you disagree with. And this just happens to be one of those things that I disagree with. And in fact, it seems there's more evidence in my favor than there is of his. Because their whole thing is, well, you know, Goku is forced. So, you know, if they're trying to say that he draws more power, and once again, if they're trying to say that he draws on more power because he's forced rather than asked, there's nothing to suggest that. The whole problem comes in is if there was something to suggest that, if it was stated or shown that he was drawing out more power, then you would have an argument. But there isn't. And the reason I brought up Kale is because, you know, basically, you know, they were like, you know, Kale's not God level or whatever, or blah, 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 and so like that. But in the previous video, Seth actually said that, you know, the 17 was basically God level, or you know, Super Saiyan God level. And I believe in another video he even said that if 17 were to fight Beerus, he would have done much better than God Goku, because, you know, he would have been stronger. And they're using the ask and force theory to kind of basically prove that. Well, if that's the case, then I can say that Kale is stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku because she forced the blue transformation. And there's more evidence for that because Goku said he's bringing out some power. Now, some can mean a lot of things. It can mean half the power of Super Saiyan Blue. It could mean 25%. You see? That's where you run into the problem. You can't sit there and say one character, due to the ask and force theory, is more powerful than, say, another character. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Kale is God level, but I'm saying I can if I use their theory, because she did force him. That's the problem. If we go based on their standards of force, she did force him to pull out Blue, and she even overpowered Blue, something that 17 never did. The only people I know that of the or at least out of the people who we have to put in this theory that aren't confirmed to be as strong as Blue or stronger, you know, the people that we will put in here would be like, you know, Gohan and Kale, because we can't use Frieza, because Frieza was already stated to be a match for current Super Saiyan Blue, and this is Super Saiyan Blue at full power, which he did not use against 17. I think it was going around that Golden Frieza, that current Golden Frieza, was weaker than 17. Oh my god. Well, whatever. I mean, this isn't me. Go back and watch the episode, guys. Beerus and them literally are saying that Golden Frieza was a match for Blue. And this is basically Blue at full power, because he knocked Goku out cold, and so Goku knocked him out too. This isn't to suggest that Goku isn't stronger than Frieza, because, you know, he still has Kaioken to pile on top of that, and, you know, his potential limit breaking form, which, you know, is going to be OP as fuck. But still, this isn't me going against 17. I want to get that out of the way too. This isn't me going against 17 either. I love 17. Like, For fuck's sake, Super 17, I never mentioned this before to anybody, but Super 17 was like my crush, okay? And I'm talking about from GT. That man was sexy as fuck. Like, I would have went gay for him. So, don't get me wrong. I'm a 17 fanboy ever since I first saw him. I mean, I cringed to death when Cell was sucking him up through his back vagina. It was just gross. But still, I don't wank him off for no reason. Okay? I accept that he's powerful. That he's definitely gotten way stronger. Way stronger than what he was during the Cell saga and the Android saga and stuff like that. Like, for real, man. It's unbelievable how stronger he got. But we can't sit here and start suggesting that he's a certain level with no real evidence. So, in conclusion, guys, the ask and force theory, it goes out the window. Now, like I was saying before, I do love 17. I really do. And, me personally, his levels, I definitely would say, are up there in the ranges, in the Boo saga and things like that. Maybe even beyond there. But that's just me personally. That's my personal opinion. But overall, the asking force theory, it just kind of goes out the window. Because otherwise, we might as well throw logic out the window. Because we can apply it to anybody who Goku never intended to go blue against. Because you look at all the battles that, he, had during that time. And once again, I used the Master Roshi thing because, he fought him. And he fought him in a charge-based state. And by this point, at that point to where he was fighting Master Roshi, his base state was way superior to levels like Super Saiyan 3. So if we start using the ask and force, or the I never intended to, or, did not want to, or whatever, then we have to start throwing logic out the window and start wanking these characters even more. You get into other problems too, like, I'm not suggesting this, but you get into other problems too, like during one of the recent episodes of the Tournament of Power involving 17, he drew out, I'm not going to say it's his full power, but he drew out, at least somewhat of his full power, and even Goku in base, looked up at him and, was like, so, this is the power that you didn't use, like, during our fight or whatever. And so, that kind of, and the fact he was in base form and casually saying this, should kind of give you an indication that there's still pretty much a gap there between them. Now, once again, I'm not saying that this was 17's full power, but you gotta start looking at these statements and stuff like that. And you can't be taking them out of context. See, this is me not taking it out of context and saying that that's his full power. It's just a gauge of, at least, you gotta say that's somewhat of his full power, or at least he's drawing out some more power. I get the irony there. But still, so in the end, 17 is fucking strong as hell. The dude is fucking just OP as fuck. And once again, to Seth the programmer and Ryu, I'm not throwing shade, I don't want to start any beef. I like a lot of their work, and I just wanted to go ahead and get this out there because it just felt kind of weird to me that they were still using this theory when it's kind of like been debunked, if you will. It's not really a theory that can really be used anymore, because if you really want to use it, you have to then start throwing logic out the window. If it comes out that it is true and that 17 is blue level, then I'll take it back. I don't mind doing that. It's perfectly fine to me. It's perfectly, natural to admit when you've made a mistake or things like that. Because all the evidence kind of suggests against it. And I haven't really seen any that kind of just basically says that, yeah, it's true that, 17 or, whoever is at this level or that level because they forced or asked or, had Goku's intention of doing something versus him not having an intention of doing something. Anyway, that's it, my knights. So I'll basically catch you guys in the next one. Also, there was a thing in there I said about Kale. I want you to know, I know Goku wasn't using his full power against her at any time. I think I mentioned something in there that may have sounded like I was talking about, Goku was using full power. But anyway, whatever. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Dismantle me like before. Show me your
teeth and tongue. Make me regret what I've done. I'll act like you have won.
Hey, what up there, my gummy knights? If you are new here to the round table, be sure to like, subscribe, and await the time for when we go on our next adventure together.